When I first heard about making a game about Airborne, I honestly thought there's no way this is ever going to work. And then we started to really look into the idea of what it meant to jump out of an airplane, and kind of through a lot of prototyping, a lot of working in the editor, various editors, we kind of came upon the solution that, hey, you know what? Starting anywhere in an FPS is something that has never been done before.
So I think this is something that everybody who's been designing mode games and playing mode games for the last couple of years is, I think, in a natural progression, has gotten to the point where the game has gotten so refined and so almost like a theme park ride where everyone had the same experience. It no longer became a game.
The most important thing for me is as a player, is reading the encounter from above. You know, it's very overwhelming when you get pushed out of the plane, or when you jump out of the plane and you look down and you see this entire level beneath you, and you say, where do I go?
As we started prototyping different forms of drop zones, and we started with little pocket encounters that were scattered around a map.
You can't have a completely open space and expect the player to have fun. When you landed in a dead spot, you found yourself hiking a ways to get somewhere.
So that evolved into a more hub and sector form of level design that it's very apparent to the player when he's in the parachute coming down. You can look around the map and you can see distinct zones and areas and battle lines, and from there you can make educated choices about how you want to land and how you want to engage.
As a gamer, you know, we want the game to tell us where we're supposed to go, but we also want the freedom to go wherever we want. So we realized from early on that we had to read the map from above. We had to be able to see where the safe areas were.
You can see the battles, you can see the explosions, you can see the tracers on the way down. So if you look from your parachute, you can see strong sectored engagements throughout the map, and you're like, okay, I'm not going to land in the middle of this because I'm just not in the mood to deal with that right now, and I'm going to land up on this high pedestal and pick off enemies from that point because I can see that high pedestal is there, I can see it's near a good fight, and I can take advantage of that. And that's what we do, so the map should read.
The first time we actually started landing on rooftops and taking out guys from above and really using the verticality of the space, that's when I was like, okay, you know, we kind of hit upon something here. This is going to be something special, something fun to work on. You know, as soon as we got to that point, it was like, okay, let's make this great.
You know, I think we talked originally like, well, we'll put little wind zone volumes or whatever all over all the roofs, and we can't let the player land on everything. And we realized, you know what, it's open. The player's going to land on everything, and we just need to constrain him in the entire battle zone. But inside there, everything's game, right?
On your way down, you know, as you get faster, as you're going down, it gets more and more difficult to find that, you know, pinpoint spot to hit.
The important thing and the real task for the designer here is to provide a lot of meaningful places for the player to land all around the environment, and then hopefully there's enough authoring in the environment, enough interest in the environment that the player will come up with his own interesting landing positions and his own interesting sort of assaults on certain attacks.
The drop allows the player to do a lot of things that in replay is just going to be a lot of fun.
Good morning. This is C-47, actually flew in D-Day, and we are here in Hondo, Texas to capture the audio. It's about 7 a.m. We've got the mics laid out, batteries, recording gear. Just waiting for pilot and mechanic to get this thing going.
This is a Douglas C-47A that was built in Oklahoma City. It flew Normandy, it flew Operation Market Garden, it flew the resupply mission in the Battle of the Bulge, and it flew the largest airborne operation in the Second World War, the Operation Varsity Jump Across the Rhine River in March 1945. The purpose of today's operation is to collect audio reference on the C-47. This is probably the most combat experienced C-47 artifact from the Second World War. And it's going to be a featured star in Medal of Honor Airborne. Right now, Medal of Honor Airborne, the team that's supporting the game, has done something that nobody else can do, and that is they just took a hop in 096, one of the last few remaining airworthy C-47s in the world today. In fact, the most significant C-47 artifact of them all. The Medal of Honor team got tons of video reference, and then importantly, great audio reference, digital audio reference that's going to really enhance Medal of Honor Airborne and make it the best looking and best sounding game of them all.
One of the most surprising things about conducting a weapons shoot is how much planning is involved to actually carry it off. That probably spent as many days deciding what the mic layouts were going to be, how much cable we were going to need, how to set it up, the recording equipment. Actually, as much time prepping for the event as we spent actually recording it. And it's an environment that's really difficult to kind of hear what it is you're capturing, because weapons have such a dynamic range that when you record it, you put on the headphones, yeah, I got something, but you don't really know you got the goods until you get back to the studio, and that's where having 30 different microphones spread out all around the weapon site is really your kind of insurance policy to make sure that you nailed it. In previous games, generally a weapon would consist of just a gunshot that would then just get a little bit quieter based on the distance that you were from the shooter. For this game, it was really important that we create, if you can think of like onion layers, that you're peeling them away. And so when you hear an NPC firing in our game, if he's very far away, you're hearing the distant elements that we captured at the weapon shoot. As he's getting closer, we're starting to blend in the midfield elements. So as he's getting really close, now you've got a third layer of the near field with gun mech in it. And so it's the same gunshot, and we're not trying to artificially create the distance. We actually captured it in that way. But to do that, we needed a huge collection of microphones spread out over a great distance so that we could then go back to the studio, resynchronize all the elements, blend them together so that you would get this real seamless sense of distance from near to far. So to capture the near field elements for our weapons, we had mics actually on the shooter, lavalier mics that he would wear. We had mics very in close proximity to the gun that were just directly underneath it or directly to the side of the weapon within 3 feet. We had other mics, again, pointed very near field, maybe right over the weapon shooter at about 10 feet over his shoulder. And then continue to expand on that about 40 feet downrange. We had a stereo pair of mics, 150 feet, another set of mics, 400 feet, as well as a whole collection of microphones way out off into the sides to kind of pick up ambient gunshots that we could then mix in with our backgrounds.